All right. So just to kick things off, I am Kristen Wagner. I am the program director with Native CDFI Network. I've just been with this group now for a couple of months, officially and formally. I've had the pleasure of knowing this network really since its beginning, and have worked in a variety of capacities as a volunteer and as a consultant. And it's just really exciting to be an official member of this team now. So I'm a super fan of all the things that Native CDFIs do across our country. So it's really great to see all of you here today. So thanks again for joining us. If you're just getting on board, feel free to drop your name and contact information in the chat so we can get to know all of you a little bit better as well. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest today, Russ Seagle. Some of you, I think, probably know him quite well. Russ is a member of our board of directors and is also a member of the Native CDFI Network. He is the executive director of the Sequoyah Fund that is located in Cherokee, North Carolina. The Sequoyah Fund offers commercial loans, kind of the gamut, right? The commercial loans, training, consulting, coaching, anything and everything to small businesses in the area. And in addition to all of this incredible work, they provide support services for Cherokee artists, fundraising programs for nonprofits and youth organizations. They have a shared office space for local businesses, savings programs and financial literacy education for local children, and youth entrepreneurship education and summer camps, which you're going to hear a little bit more about today. Russ also sees Sequoyah Fund's REAL, R-E-A-L, entrepreneurship program. You'll also get a few great details about that. This program offers education, training, and certification for a wide range of stakeholders in 43 states and in 9 countries. So Russ is going to share a little bit more of that. But one of the highlights today, you'll see on Russ's photo there, is a really cool new program that is getting launched called TACTIX. And it's this really great opportunity that Native CDFIs can become a part of and have another tool to share with their entrepreneurs and their communities that they're serving. So without further ado, Russ, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kristen. It's good to see a lot of you. I see some familiar faces. If I don't see your face, I at least see familiar names on the screen, and that's good. If I start to speak in gibberish, I got in about 1 o'clock this morning from a flight from Portland, where I got to spend some time with Ted Piccolo and the NNDF and some other Native CDFIs out in the Northwest. And a good time was had by all. Great content, nice little conference. So yeah, I want to talk about all of the things that Kristen mentioned and how this relates to you as a Native CDFI and how you can take part in what we're doing, because it is pretty exciting. I want to go ahead and start. I'll share my screen, make sure I'm sharing the right one this time. And so I want to talk about our TACTIX program, and it really is, it's a product of a lot of other things that we do. Like a lot of small CDFIs, especially Native CDFIs, we are stretched. She just rattled off a lot of things that we do. And I'm sitting there going, wow, how do we get that done? And it all comes down to capacity. And I'll talk to you about how we did this with capacity in mind and where we're going with that. So all this began before Sequoyah Fund ever existed. Back in the mid-1970s, an educator named Dr. Jonathan Scher wrote an article for an educational publication about why it's important that we start to teach people this skill set called entrepreneurship. He believed that it was a skill set people could learn just like anything else. And in the early 80s, he joined up with another educator, Dr. Paul DeLargy in Georgia, and they came up with this really cool educational curriculum that they call REAL. It stands for Rural Entrepreneurship Through Action Learning. The action learning part was the big deal. Rather than just standing in front of a class and spoon feeding information to students, they realized that people were going to learn more, get more out of it, and engage more if they took an active role in their learning. And so everything that Real was built on was because of this thing called the experiential learning cycle, where you do something, you have an experience, you do an activity, then you reflect on it. A lot of us don't really solidify that learning until we've talked about it and discussed it, thought about it a little while. And then there's an expansion component to that. Well, how do I apply this to my business? How would I do that? And then there's the implementation, where I'm going to actually put this into my business plan, or I'm going to put this to work in my business. And that also becomes another experience. And so the cycle continues. And they realized that this was a better way of teaching. So when I first went through the Real program in 1998, half of it was just trying to deprogram teachers who were used to standing in front of a classroom and teach this stuff. But I picked up on it immediately because I'm not a teacher. I didn't have all that baggage that I was bringing with me in terms of old teaching styles and old methods. And I realized that if somebody had taught me this way when I was in school, I would have paid a lot more attention. I would have enjoyed it more. I would have gotten more out of it. So from 1998 up until I came on board with Sequoyah Fund in 2009, I was teaching this both in curriculum and as a continuing ed program at our local community college. People responded to it immediately. People loved it, and we continued to use it. When I came on board with Sequoyah Fund, I realized that the entire staff had been trained in Real. I did not know that until I started working for Sequoyah Fund. So I realized there was a huge investment in this program. We still train. I'm not sure why that picture is pixelated, but maybe it's for security reasons. I don't know. But we started training people all around the world. And Kristen said that we're in 43 states and 9 foreign countries. We're actually in 12 countries now. We certify people to teach this all over the world. I was hoping to get to go to Turkey before COVID hit. I'm still hoping to go to Turkey. But Turkey is a great example of why this is so powerful. Turkey, the educational system there, all the way through college, is the instructor instructs and the students take notes and listen. And there's no two-way communication. There's not really any interaction. One of our longtime facilitators moved back to Turkey to take care of her parents. She lived in North Carolina for a long time. She was asked to go to a symposium and present some entrepreneurship education materials, and she used the Real program. And she was just bombarded with questions after this. How do we use some of this magic that you used here today? Because it was a completely different way of learning for them. So along the way, one of the big things we started doing was youth camps. We actually have a youth camp certification program where you can start your own summer camps. And we've done a summer camp every year until COVID hit. We made some changes, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But here you can see me pre-beard getting my nails done by one of our young entrepreneurs. This young lady also had a duct tape wallet business where she would make wallets and purses and things out of different colored duct tapes. She paid her mother a commission to sell these things for her. So she had a thriving little business all the way through middle school and into high school when other interests took over. But we did this every year. We would invite local entrepreneurs and tribal leaders to come in and talk to these kids about their future and how self-employment is a career option. Something that a lot of us never considered as children. But they love getting together, and we bring in artists. We help them make things. We help them learn how to do basket weaving and beadwork and all kinds of other art. We've done agricultural camps where they raise a garden. So it's, and then they have to sell the product of the garden. Just amazing stuff. And I'll admit, I'm a little selfish. I'm a lender, right? Like most of us at Native CDFIs. I want them to grow up and borrow money from me. I want them to think about maybe starting a business someday. So we get them early at Sequoyah Fund. One of the things we did very early on was we trained 50 teachers from kindergarten through 12th grade at Cherokee Central Schools in Real. Kids were getting entrepreneurship education in everything they did, from history to language arts to math, biology, physical education, and even drama. This new school that you see here was built, gosh, time flies, probably now close to 20 years ago, but actually more like 15. But anyway, there's a 3,200 seat theater in this school. When they have their high school spring musical, now they don't just think about how much does it cost to rent the backdrops and the costumes, and, oh, we're going to do Peter Pan, we have to fly, that costs money. Now they're thinking about ticket pricing, breaking even, how many shows they have to do, how many seats they have to fill to break even, to actually make some money so that they can do this again. And we had great support from the administration, and every student at Cherokee School from kindergarten through 12th grade was being exposed to entrepreneurship on a daily basis. So from Real and our summer camps, we realized that the most engaged participants of these camps were our preteen girls, age 10 to 13, middle school. They were super excited about owning their own business. And of course, everybody wanted to be a YouTube influencer. Now I think it's probably TikTok influencer, but that's what they wanted to do. So we started in 2018, one camp girl boss for age 10 to 13 girls. We brought in women business leaders, women politicians, just powerful women to teach these girls all kinds of leadership skills, communication skills, entrepreneurship skills. It was a huge hit. Our goal for 2019 was 10 camps across Western North Carolina. We did that, and it was a big success. We engaged communities in setting up their own camps, and we handled things like background checks and insurance. They took care of everything else. Our goal for 2020 was 100 camps across the country. Well, we all know what happened in 2020. So within a 30-day period, we had to blow up our entire idea of live camps, and we went to a virtual model. We moved everything online onto a learning management system. All of a sudden, we had room for 100,000 girls across the country. And we thought, why not? Let's just do it. So with these girls, we learned a lot along the way. We learned how to engage them remotely, virtually. We learned what parents were looking for. And at that time, if you had children during COVID, you know that you were looking for things for them to do. You wanted to keep them engaged, keep them busy. And this was even when schools were scrambling, trying to figure out how to engage their students and keep them involved. What are we going to do with these kids over the summer? Well, this gave them an entire summer camp. We stretched it out, gave them a virtual summer camp, and we had moms calling, emailing, saying, look, I'm leaving my cell phone with my daughter all day so she can take this camp. We don't have a computer at home, but she's taking this camp on the phone, and they loved it. We also learned that broadband and connectivity issues are not unique to Indian country or rural areas. We had people in big cities, New York, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Philadelphia, Minneapolis, who said, we don't have great internet here. Blew my mind. I live in the mountains of Western North Carolina, where it's a way of life that we don't have great internet. We just assumed that people in bigger metropolitan areas would have better internet, and they don't. So we had to design for the platform that we had, and we had to design this in a way so that people could access it, no matter where they were. And we learned a lot. We learned that experiential curriculum can be delivered virtually. We learned that hybrid learning environments work. People love the cohort learning style because they can get together with a real group of people. They can interact, and then they can also have some self-guided, self-paced study along the way. People love video. Our brains are wired for video, and where people will not read a 30-second email, they will watch a 3-minute video. They also won't watch a 20-minute video. So we do watch 3 to 5 minute videos. That's kind of the sweet spot. So we started to create these bite-sized educational chunks that we could put out there. And then the live sessions were longer form, 1 to 2 hours. We created a lot of downloadable templates. I'm going to show you some of those. And we just started to teach to the platform that we had so that people would engage with that. And in Cherokee, we did something right after COVID started, right at 2 years ago. I had 2 of my people rate our entire portfolio, every single business in the portfolio. And they created this traffic light graph for us. There were the businesses in red who probably weren't going to make it anyway. And COVID was the shove over the edge of the cliff. We had green businesses that were largely unaffected. These are tech businesses, service businesses that did really well during the pandemic, and they continued to grow. They didn't need help. But in the bell curve, there was this huge group of yellow businesses that were on the cusp. They could have gone either way. And so we talked to those businesses. There were restaurants, they were gyms and fitness centers, movie theaters, businesses that needed people to be there to make money. And we said, what can we do for you? How can we help? And time again, the answer was the same. Get us more customers. We need more customers. At the same time that new businesses just dropped off to zero. Nobody was willing to start a business in that environment. They said, this time's not right. The existing businesses wanted customers, whether they were restaurants making a shift to drive through, takeout, delivery, whatever. And we cobbled together a program that we called Accel, short for accelerator. This is not for new businesses. This is for existing businesses, and we need to move them along. We did a 90-day pilot with this. And like a lot of things that we do at Sequoyah Fund, we go ahead and self-fund it. We try it. We do the dance and see if anybody's watching. And then if it works, we try to get some money for it. The response that we got from the people who completed this course was just incredible. Their sales, their customer counts, their profits were all at better than pre-pandemic levels. In February of 2020, everybody said, this is going to be the best year yet. I can't wait for 2020. And then the plane flew right into the mountain. But the people who stuck this course out and did the work saw incredible results. And we realized maybe we've got something here. So we brought together a team of experts. I'm not an expert. I don't have any experts in my office. I've got some people who are really savvy with things like social media marketing, but they're not equipped to build an entire curriculum around that. So we brought together these people with various skill sets in digital marketing. We said, let's figure out a way to help people get more customers. At the same time, as an NCN board member and just being out there in the native CDFI world, I'm talking to a lot of peers, and I'm hearing the same capacity issues. I don't have time to do this. I don't have the expertise to do this. We don't have the staff capability to teach this stuff that people need right now. We said, why don't we kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Let's figure out a way to give business clients what they need while also helping CDFIs build capacity by offering something that they don't have to do themselves. And that's where TACTIX came in. There are a lot of entrepreneurship programs out there that are very rah-rah. Not gonna lie, they're about mindset. Let's get people to think like entrepreneurs. Let's tell people that they can do this. Let's get people pumped up to be entrepreneurs, but they don't give a lot of skill sets. Well, with Real, we've always done skill sets. We've always taught people how to write the business plan, how to calculate the break even, how to do their cash flow projections, how to handle their taxes and stay out of trouble, how to hire people, write their employee manuals, do their marketing. All those things were the tactics that you need on a daily basis to run a successful business. And so we just kind of landed on this name. And when you throw an X at the end, it looks a little cooler on a mobile app. I don't know. So we set out to create this thing that was easy enough for Russ to use. All right, that was one of the big criteria here, that it's got to be easy for our clients to use, to get through the material. It's got to be useful information, but it's also got to be easy enough for Russ to understand. If I'm going to help people do this, I've got to be able to, look, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So we build the platform. It's a mobile app community, and the community is the key. Once people take the course and they get through the course, they still have access to the community. They can build a community. If you're a dog groomer in Nebraska and you want to get with other dog groomers around the country and learn from each other, you can create a group within the TACTIX app for dog groomers. We used the skills that we learned with Camp Girl Boss and we brought them to bear with this platform. And we built a place for you as a CDFI to brand this, make it your own, and help people in your backyard. They never have to see Sequoyah Fund if they don't want to, if you don't want them to. We have a train the trainer program. We bring you up to speed on how to host this program. And that's the key. I am not a trainer. Yeah, I'm listed on the list of trainers just because I found the money, but I'm not a trainer. Sequoyah Fund is a host. We have trainers who handle all of the content. They're the gurus. We just host this program and we make it easy for people to access it. And that's it. But we create this community away from Facebook groups and all these online forums that seem to just devolve into contention and anger. I'm a member of several professional groups on Facebook, and I don't know if it's just built into Facebook's DNA that all of a sudden everybody's at each other's throats when you're in these groups. We've designed this to be an educational first platform. So our first cohort launched this February, and we launched one the first or around the first of every month since. We have a team of up to 3 trainers in every organization. You can have more if you want to, but we say, 3 is a nice sweet spot. And you can have cohorts of anywhere from 4 to 20 members. Our first cohort was 24 people, 24 students. Our second cohort was 16. Our third cohort was only 6, but our May cohort is over 50. So we offer these things on a rotating basis so that people can jump in when it meets their schedule, when it works for them. And I'll be honest, I don't have to do a lot of work. I'll tell you a little bit more about what I do through this, and it's going to sound way too easy. But our trainers hold a Zoom live cohort session with these folks every other week, and we do pre-recorded modules. In fact, we've had people sign up, take the course, benefit from the course, graduate from the course, love the course, and never attended a live session because they can do the pre-recorded video modules, answer a few questions, showing that you've done the work, and then do some of the homework assignments, and it's all good. The way this works is the first couple of weeks, everybody is in what we call the universal track. This gives everybody the same foundational knowledge of digital marketing, goal setting. What do you want to do with this? You can't, if you look at your deposit slip, there's no line on there for likes, shares, retweets, right? It's money. So we want to help people tie their digital marketing goals to their bottom line. And once they've gone through this universal track, they get to pick one of 3 tracks. Building a website. We have a partnership with Squarespace. People walk away with a completed website. Social media track. They're going to learn how to do digital marketing on social media that gets more than just likes, shares, retweets, and follows. It's all about money. And then the online sales. We teach them how to do sales funnels, how to do use payment gateways, how to build newsletters and email lists to stay in contact with their customers. I just got a call the other day. She said, Russ, I am an overachiever. I want to do 2 tracks at once. I want to do the online sales and the social media. And I said, no, I broke her heart. I'm sorry. You can do 1 live track, but here's the key. The portal stays open for an extra 6 months. So you can always go back and do the other 2 tracks asynchronously. I'm learning all this new online education language. You can do these other 2 tracks asynchronously on your own time. And there's plenty of time to do it. But we ask people to commit to 1 track and stick with it. And the results, again, are just amazing. On your side, you can have up to 3 team members. You register your CDFI on our tactix.org website. We put you through a workshop where we teach you all the things that you're going to have to do. and put your mind at ease about all the things you don't have to do. And then we give you ongoing support. From your cohort standpoint, you can have 4 to 20 people. And look, we're not going to run out of megabytes if you have 50 people, right? We're just saying 20 is a nice, comfortable number. It gives you enough to have different groups and conversation, and people learn from each other without being too overwhelming. We give you a private classroom so that people get to congregate in their own community. They get to be a part of a community, even though it's online. And so then you've got this community hub where they can contact you. They can click a button and they can get somebody at their local native CDFI and not across the country at some nameless, faceless place. So here's what TACTIX looks like. Just a few screenshots here. But when people come into the program, they're going to get a message, a welcome message from our now former board president, Yona Wade, just telling people what this is all about, what to expect, why it's important that you build your business. They'll get their objectives, and at the bottom of every screen, again, they can take this course 100% on their phone. They don't have to. You can use a computer, click a button, and you move to the next lesson. But you'll also see on the right that we've got this cool community app where people can share, they can talk, they can commiserate, they can complain, but our instructors, our technical experts jump in with all the answers when they need it. We've got a menu. Again, you'll see that you can have your own menu. We can put your lovely face and your name in here for local contacts. On the resources section, we continue to feed timely, relevant content into the resource section. So there's always new videos, new downloads, new worksheets, new activities for people to do, to learn from. And then, of course, we've got the communities that people can join. You'll see here that people even share their homework within their community. Hunting Boy 2698 put his homework in there because he's asking for feedback, wanted people to let him know, am I on the right track? Is this detailed enough? Those are the kinds of questions that people have. And then once a month, we have a coffee talk, which is hosted by me. I do some sort of small business news you can use, things that maybe you didn't know or things that you didn't realize related to your small business and how to connect those dots. We have some general Q&A, and then we break everybody up into small online Zoom groups. So you get to know people from around the country. This is open to anybody who's participating in the TACTIX program at any place or any time. So anybody who wants to do this, jump in. Remember, we're just hosting. Here's what I do. Somebody signs up for the course. They say, I want to take TACTIX. I want to be part of the cohort. I want to learn. But Russ, I've never used a phone before. I don't know how to download the app from the App Store. That's the kind of stuff I get to do. I help them download their app. Or they say, I don't remember my password. I can go in and update their password. All right. I spend half my life updating passwords just for me. So I'm an old pro at that. We do have some folks who do not have internet access. I mean, you get in, and I know a lot of you are in the same type of terrain. You get up some of these hollers in Western North Carolina, you're never going to have good internet access. So every other week on Tuesday night, I work late. I let them in the door, and they get to soak up some of that delicious Sequoyah Fund Wi-Fi and do the course from our office. But the steps are simple. We wanted to do this with you in mind. We said, look, if this is working for us and it's working for our local small businesses, let's open this up and make it available to everybody. No need to hoard all the good stuff for ourselves. When you can use this as a capacity supplement or a capacity builder for your own CDFI. And thanks to Wells Fargo, we were able to do this. They offered us a generous grant through their Open for Business grant program. Some of you have taken advantage of that Open for Business grant program. This is the pool of money that they created from all of their PPP loan fees. So I've kind of made you drink through a fire hose. But I'm gonna kind of slow down and just give you some contact information, and we'll take questions. I'm gonna turn it back over to Kristen, let her do her magic, and then if there's anything else that I can answer for anybody, be more than happy to do that. And thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Russ. Yeah, I've been throwing a few links in the chat. So they have links at least to several of your programs and the website for TACTIX as well. But we do have a few questions. So Corey, I'm going to invite you to come off mute if you're interested in doing that and ask your question about the universal track content.
Thanks. I was just curious, the latter specializations seem to be so articulated. I was curious if you could elaborate on what's covered in that universal track. I did go on to the tactics.org link, but I didn't see curriculum addressed.
Yeah, good question, Corey. Thank you. So when you say digital marketing, what are you talking about, really? And when you say digital marketing, it means different things to different people. Some people think, well, I'm gonna post my business hours on Facebook, or I'm gonna post my menu on Twitter. Or I'm going to put a new t-shirt design on Instagram. And that's really all they think about. For some people, it's about email marketing. What we do in that universal track is we give everybody a common vocabulary, a common language to be able to understand the different types of digital marketing. We also go through some goal setting exercises, because you can't have too many multiple goals when you do digital marketing. The success really is in focusing on something. And that's why we don't allow people to take two of those specialty tracks simultaneously. We want them focusing on building the website, get that done, and then you can move on to the social media and learn how to integrate that with your website. But again, that first few weeks is really just about goal setting, making sure that you understand what you really do want to do with your digital marketing. And it gives people a little better idea of which track they should pick based on their own business. We've had some folks who, we've got some jewelry makers who decided that they didn't really like social media. They didn't want to do social media. So they built a website. We also had another jewelry maker who said, I don't really like social media, but I need to learn more about it. And I think people would respond to it. So they chose the social media marketing track. So we don't go into a lot of detail in that online, because that's what we hit in the very first cohort meeting. Now, when people register, when they register for a cohort, if you have signed your CDFI up to participate, there's going to be a drop-down list that says, who are you with? So if they're with Sequoyah Fund and they're in our area, they're going to click on Sequoyah Fund. If they're not sure, they can still click on Sequoyah Fund, and we can say, wait a minute, we think you're better off with the Nimipu Fund or Tala Fund or somewhere else. But when they click on that, they will get an email from you. It's an automated email that says, here are your next steps. Here's how you're going to access the course. Here's the login information. And here's what you need to do before the first meeting. So they have all of that information, and they walk in the door ready to hit the ground running.
Thanks, Russ. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions related to cost. So cost for participants who might want to take advantage of this training, so entrepreneurs, and then cost for CDFIs if they want to join this platform.
This is my favorite part of the show, where I get to say it costs you nothing, thanks to Wells Fargo. So I will say that I've learned a lot in the digital realm since we started this. I have learned that you can't turn on something for some people and turn it off for other people. So we have built in a cost to this. People who are not associated or affiliated with a CDFI will see this and they'll say, oh, this is X amount of dollars. But we have also built in a code for all of our CDFI partners to make it free for people to use. We're not going to charge you to use it. We're not going to charge them to use it. If we get somebody from halfway around the world who wants to jump in, sure, but they're not part of this grant program, so they're going to end up paying for it. What we want to happen is that people fall in love with the program so much that they will eventually want to, after the first 6 months, we're hoping to fund this for a year, but after the first 6 months that they'll want to pay a small amount to maintain their association with that community so that they can continue to get the free downloads and the new content that comes out and access to the social network that they've built. But again, right now, no charge. Thank you, Wells Fargo.
Can't beat that. That's for sure.
No, you can't.
Oh my gosh. Heather, I'm going to invite you to come out and join your question or ask your question about measurements.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm trying to eat lunch at the same time, so I had to hurry up and swallow. So my question is just about how you are measuring success for this particular program.
So we measured on two different levels. One, as a CDFI, you get to see who comes through the program, what their engagement is, and you get to see, are they participating or did they just kind of sign up and hang on for the ride and they haven't really done anything. But that's part of the goal setting in the very beginning is we want people to tell us what they want social media or what they want online marketing or their website to do for them. So it's going to be different for everybody. If somebody comes in and says, I need 20% more customers this year than next year, then we help give them the tools to bring in more customers. Now, we won't know until a year from now when we survey them, did they actually see 20% more customers? But right now we're working on some of the follow-up, what we call evidence development. And evidence development tools for CDFIs to go back and have those follow-up conversations with people to make sure they're hitting their goals, because not every outcome is going to be immediate, especially if somebody wants to build, let's say, an email list. Let's say they want to do email marketing and they have 0 people on their email list. One of their goals might be to build a 500-person email list and then a 5,000-person email list. And we can check in with them periodically to see how they're going about that. But then what do you do with that list? That's not really an outcome. Having the list is a tool. So we're building in the evidence development as we go to make sure that we can follow up with people and say, now, what did you do with those 5,000 names? If you spammed them all with Chinese Viagra ads, you probably are not really doing your business any favors. But you know, if you are seeing real results from that, that's what we're after. So yeah, we built it on the front end with all of that evidence development in mind, but that's a great question. But we make sure you get those tools to do that.
So Russ, is it safe to say that this would be part of kind of your onboarding process then, if an organization wants to join you on this or take advantage of this platform?
Yeah, I mean, again, we cover all of that in the onboarding.
Okay.
As a CDFI, we want to give you the tools to offer this to your community, but we don't want you to have to be the one sitting there building the website, designing the graphics for the social media posts, filming the videos for the next TikTok influencer. We want to give you the tools to help them build their business. So yeah, you're right, Chris. That's part of that onboarding, and that's part of the follow-up support that we offer you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Russ. Cindy Logston, if you're able to join us, go ahead and come off mute and ask your question about TA.
Sure. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Cindy.
Great presentation, Russ. I was just wondering who gets to count the TA? Does the individual CDFI, or do you guys count that, or how is it even, can we even claim it?
You count the TA. You can count the instructional hours. You're the one bringing them to the table. We are providing the instruction, but you are, it would be the same, Cindy, if you invited a guest speaker to come in and do a lunch and learn. They're doing the instruction, but you get to count the numbers, right? So you're going to have opportunity for TA because people are going to have questions. You're also going to have opportunity to count those training numbers. That's all part of the deal. And we give you those statistics. We will send you spreadsheets and we'll give you breakdowns and we'll show you who's actually working the course. we've had a few people try to slide through. You know, they sign up and they say, well, I'm good. Nobody can track me online. We're like the CIA. We know everything.
Great product. Thank you, Russ.
So Russ, you mentioned one of the other features of this, besides like gaining knowledge and, you know, really getting to build the business, is this kind of learning community or a network of folks. So I'm interested, I know you're kind of still new into this phase of it, but do you have some stories to share, like how folks have connected and, you know, is it more hyper local? Is it, you know, regional, or what do you anticipate with these networks of folks building out from this?
Good question, Krista. So for us, everything has been hyper local. We've started to invite people in to our cohorts, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But I think one of the most striking things to me is our local artists. And if you're an artist, if you know artists don't love technology all that much. I mean, some do, but as a general rule, they're I won't say they're technophobes. They're just not that into it. Especially some of our carvers and basket weavers and copper artists and things like that. But they have really taken to this online platform. One of the things that they tell us is that this is not a cesspool like Facebook. They don't have to wade through a lot of unnecessary or unrelated information to get what they need. When they post a question online, they know they're going to get a qualified answer. They're going to get somebody who knows what they're talking about to answer that. I mean, if you ask a legal question on Facebook, the best thing you can do is avoid every bit of the advice you get on Facebook. And with this platform, they're loving it because, again, you open the app, you type in a question, and within about 30 minutes, somebody's going to jump in with the right answer for you. So again, we test everything in what I call the Cherokee bubble. If it works and we can make it work on a broader scale, we do that. So we've been working with this in the Cherokee bubble, but we also had a lot of native CDFIs say, look, I'm not sure about this. We don't know how to do this. Bring people into our cohort, get them to sign up as under the Sequoyah Fund. We'll take them. We'll put them through that. You won't get those numbers. You'll only get the numbers that people who sign up under your CDFI's name bring, but we'll put them through the program. We will help them get the results, just like if they were right here in Cherokee. So if it's an issue of maybe you're a one-person operation or a two-person operation, you just don't have the time to oversee something like this, we're happy to do it. You bring them into the Sequoyah Fund cohort, and it's smooth sailing from there on out. And of course, if you call us and say, how are these folks doing? Is there anything I can learn from this or anything I can get from their stats or their participation? We're happy to give that to you. We've had a few of those to come into our cohort.
Great, thank you. Please keep your questions and your reactions coming for Russ. While folks are thinking about the hard questions to ask you, I want to just kind of jump on. You've mentioned artists, and I know this is kind of a diversion a little bit from TACTIX, but I know that you have a pretty incredible program and system of supports for artists in your community. So I just wanted to invite you to talk a little more about that as well.
In 2013, 2014, we started talking to artists about how to help them increase their productivity, how to help them sell more, make more money, create a better life for themselves, rather than just, I need to pay an electric bill, I think I'll go make a basket. And one of the folks who was working for us at the time, he's now with the BIA up in DC, John Ross, he started having these meetings with artists, and they said, we know we need a website, but we can't build a website. And we don't want to run a website. Once you build a website, then you got to maintain it, right? Buildings are meant to be lived in or they deteriorate. Same thing with websites. So we approached the SBA and a couple of other funding sources, and we got some money to work with these artists, and they created their own brand. called Authentically Cherokee. We built a website for them called authenticallycherokee.com. And it frees them up to do their art. All they have to do is bring us the art. We photograph it, we catalog it, we describe it, we help them price it if they need help with that. And then we put it online. Once we sell it, we keep the shipping and handling plus 5% of the sales price. They get 95% for not having to build a website. We also have live art events. Everybody gets a brand. Everybody gets that Authentically Cherokee logo, so that when you go to other surrounding cities like Chattanooga, Tennessee, Asheville, North Carolina, and you see an art show and you start seeing all of these Authentically Cherokee labels pop up, you know where these folks are from. One of the other things that's unique about the Authentically Cherokee program is that here in Cherokee, we have the Qualla Arts and Crafts Mutual, which is the oldest art co-op in the country, one of the oldest in the world. And they are very particular about admitting Native artists. They have to be Native. They have to use traditional materials. They have to use traditional methods. With us, you have to be Native and you have to create art. And that's it. If you want to do metal art, if you want to do welding, if you want to do drama, if you want to write music, whatever it is that you do, fashion design, we've got a lot of folks who do fashion design. We are not going to hold you to traditional methods, traditional materials. We want all Cherokee artists to thrive, whatever medium they choose. So that's been a thriving program now. We started that, like I said, about 2014, and it's been going strong ever since. And now we've got artists, Kristen, to come full circle. We have artists who have been participating in the Authentically Cherokee program, coming through TACTIX. And now they're saying, I think I'm ready to have my own website now. Okay, well, that's what the first few weeks are for, that universal track. Are you really ready? You know, we kind of joke around, it's a lot more fun making babies than it is raising them. And sometimes when you create that website, you got to raise it. You got to keep it maintained. So we want people to set realistic expectations for that. And we've had people who said, you know, I want to do the website. And then in that universal track, they shifted and said, maybe I should just do email marketing instead. I've already got a pretty good list. We had one artist who, she's a potter, she's a basket weaver, does a lot of different things. She's a fashion designer. She created a simple Google news group, one of those old fashioned news groups. And it had academics and gallery owners and gallery curators all over the country in this group. And she included me. I'm not sure why, but I got 1,000 messages on the first day about, oh, we're so glad you started this group. Can't wait to see all the new stuff you're doing. And when you've got new products, let us know. We'd love to feature you, and yada, yada, yada. So yeah, even those artists who were very technophobic several years ago are kind of getting into it now. It's kind of cool to watch.
Sounds like there's a little bit of something for everyone. This whole space. That's really
within reason. We kind of put the guardrails on the highway are, it's digital marketing for existing businesses. One of the questions that we get is can I use this to start my business? Not really. We want people who have already had experiences with their business to come through this. We think it's more valuable that way. And a brand new business with no track record is not really going to have anything to build on. So it is digital marketing for existing businesses. We don't do anything else. Within that, yeah, it's a lot of stuff for a lot of people.
Thank you. Other questions you have for Russ? I did put, here's a link to his, the main website. Definitely check it out. There is so much. I spent quite a bit of time checking out all the different programs. And one really fun thing, when I clicked on the Reel, the link for the Reel page, the Reel entrepreneurship, it offered to download a youth program called Beyond the Lemonade Stand. And I was so intrigued. Can you share more about that?
Yeah. So again, real, we use that. It's not virtual. Real is not virtual. Real was the building block for TACTIX, but it's in use now. We have a K-8 program specifically. We have what I call a high school, college, or post-secondary program that's used in high schools, community colleges, universities, and graduate programs across the country. And again, we have other, I guess in the academic world, what are called stackable credentials: art, ag, home health care, youth camp, school-based enterprise, and fundraising. So we have all of those things, but the real program started with kids, and we still focus on kids. We want those kids to learn that entrepreneurship is a career path for them. 20, 30, 50 years ago, certainly, it was unheard of. If you started a business, you probably started another grocery store like your mother and father had, or you started another gas station like the one you had worked at in high school. There was not a lot of really wild and crazy things that people were doing. It was very what I would call adjacent. Mom and dad owned a hotel. I'm going to own another hotel because that's the business I know. So we want them to learn that. And Beyond the Lemonade Stand is just a very short primer on how do we get kids interested in entrepreneurship. And our adult preconceived notions about how to teach kids entrepreneurship might be flawed. They're very open to new ideas. They're open to problem solving. They're open to not just solving a problem of how do I make money so I can buy a new bicycle. They're open to how do I save the oceans? How do I stop global warming? How do I save this rare turtle in our streams, or this rare lizard or whatever? They're consumed with bigger problems that they want to solve, and entrepreneurship's the key to doing that. So we hope that little primer, that little book, will get people to think about different ways that they can open up entrepreneurship education for kids in their community.
Thank you. I just have a special place in my heart for youth entrepreneurs. We have lots of neighborhood lemonade stands that pop up getting started about this time of year. So it's fun to see the kids out there with their vision.
Yeah, there's actually a bank in Iowa that every summer they have a lemonade stand program where you can go in with your kids, open up a little account. They will give you all the stuff you need to build your lemonade stand, all your marketing materials. They will open up a checking account for you. They'll give you the deposit slips, everything you need to run a lemonade stand. And then they have a contest at the end of the summer. You can bring all of your information. When you talk about outcomes, this is pretty direct. And then they have prizes for the kids who performed the best according to their goals, not necessarily the ones that made the most money, but when you perform against your goals to a certain degree, they offer prizes. It's a really cool program.
That's awesome. So as folks think about their final questions for you, can you take us back to TACTIX again and just share a little bit more about, just recap the deadlines for your new cohort, and then the process if Native CDFIs want to get on board with this?
So it's an open enrollment. There's not really a deadline. Okay. For us here in Cherokee, the cohort that begins next week will run May, June, July, and we're going to take August off for a lot of different reasons. One is that we want to have an opportunity after 4 cohorts to just restructure everything, reevaluate, make sure we're on the right track with some of our content, update anything that needs to be updated. But for you, you can onboard at any time. We'll help you get started with a cohort at any time. We'll help you structure those meetings and so forth. We'll take care of helping you with your scheduling. But there's no deadline to it. There's no start or stop time at all. You may not want to have overlapping cohorts like we've done. You may just want to run a 3-month cohort and then run another 3-month cohort. Which would be a little easier to manage, certainly. But that would be up to you.
Great, thank you. I don't know if you're seeing the chat, but Cindy Middlestad commented, phenomenal vision, Russ. Well, kudos out to you. Any last comments or questions for Russ as we come to the end of our session this week?
Well, Kristen, I will say that I appreciate the Native CDFI Network for allowing us to do this, to bring this program to our peers. Thanks to Wells Fargo for providing the funding for doing this. Thank you personally for running the show and keeping everything on track and the trains running on time, and all that good stuff. So we're very grateful. You know, we kind of feel like, yeah, Cindy, we had the vision, but then we just got to be a part of it with a lot of really great people, and we hope you will feel the same.
Thank you so much, Russ. This is really an exciting program, and I mean everything you're doing, but this launch of TACTIX is really exciting, and I hope folks will take advantage of it for sure. So thanks for taking time out on this Friday afternoon and sharing more information with us. Just for all of you, this session is being recorded, and I did throw a link to our YouTube page, and that's where you can check it out. I don't have an exact timeline, but within sometime by early next week, we will hopefully have that up and ready to go for you. But you can also check out some of our past webinars on that page as well. So if you're not familiar with our YouTube page, please check it out. We're doing this just about every Friday, so be sure to check out, you know, when those announcements from us come out. If you aren't on our mailing list, please feel free to reach out, and we can make sure you get all of those announcements coming up. But thank you again, Russ. Thanks to all of you for joining us, and we hope to see you again real soon. Have a really great weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Russ.